Jose Shorty Torres, first and foremost, how are you and how is your camp been in anticipation for your next fight?
I'm great, man. I can't complain. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm superb. That might be the first ever interview where I've asked somebody how they are and they've asked me back, which is nice.
You know what's funny is because I do a questionnaire every Sunday on my Instagram, and people ask me random questions, and there's always one. It's only one though, but it's always one person that's always like, "How are you today?" It's like, thank you. Actually, I'm doing well. I'm doing so much better now. And then I don't know, I start venting. But no, man, camp's been going great. I've been training for this fight since the last fight in September. Sean and I, we weren't injured yet. We had some bumps and bruises. Give us a week. We're ready to go back into the next day. And but these travel restrictions have been horrendous for us, especially Americans having the biggest COVID outbreak in the world right now. We haven't been able to travel. So December, Russia's like, sorry, no one's allowed. January, Russia's like, sorry, everyone's allowed except for you Americans. And it's like, oh, okay. And then Brave took a little bit of a break in February, was having fights and doing these big events in March. And we expected the fight April 1st, but there was a small confusion between, Sean and his management team on the date. And so, I talked to Sean, I'm friends with him, again, it's just business. And, talking to him, I was just like, all right, I guess the only date we can do is March 25th, just because after that, it's not ultimatums, but you just never know what the world's going to hold. If COVID comes back, if the vaccinations turn us into zombies, whatever the case may be, it's one of those things that we kind of had to jump the gun and take full advantage, because if we don't fight now, we might not fight until after Ramadan, which is the end of May. But what if the country doesn't let us in? And maybe not until June, July, maybe August, or whenever the hell. So it's trying to get back in there as soon as possible. And I've been training for it. I might not have my team because, as we were talking off air, my teammates David Evans, Tyron Woodley, and Gillian Robertson all have fights, and Dean Thomas is coaching all three of them. So it's one of those things that I might have to take the short end of the stick, no pun intended with my nickname, but it's just, I got to do what I got to do, and take full advantage of the opportunity. And I have some great guys here, and Eldar Eldarov, the super lightweight break champion, being my coach. He's going to be in my corner again, coach. He's been trained under Khabib's father. Khabib is a Makachev. We saw how well he did this weekend. And, it's a great thing. So it's been a good time out here. I've been in Bahrain for about a week already. I got 2 more weeks until the fight. And, I feel like Dan Hooker. Like this is not fun doing this quarantine, because we're in a bubble, but it's not Abu Dhabi where we get the whole island. We're stuck in this hotel. We can't go anywhere. So it's so strict right now in Bahrain, because I guess they did have a big COVID outbreak, that even trying to use the sauna, even though everyone in the hotel is negative and we get tested literally every single day, they're just trying to play as strict as possible. So it's one person in the sauna, one person in the workout room. So you have to reserve everything, making sure every single day that it's as strict as possible. And the crazy thing is, there's fighters weighing in tomorrow for the Asian domination, the first event for Brave, to start it off. And you got guys running in the hallway right now, trying to make weight and cut weight, because there's somebody else, in the workout room occupying it right now, and there's probably somebody else in the sauna. So it's a little hectic, but we're fighters. We got to get the job done.
Is that perhaps a reassuring thing that you're out there so early and you can perhaps lower your weight a little bit gradually with some of the restrictions you're talking about?
Yeah, it's honestly very beneficial. So when I found out my fight was going to be moved earlier than what was expected, again, I expected April 1st, now March 25th. There's a little bit more of a rush to the weight cut, and immediately we're like, man, what's the hardest part about the weight cut? Well, honestly, it's the travel
Yeah.
and the last week. Why travel the last week? Brave takes care of me very well. They're going to be here the entire week, or excuse me, the entire month. I might as well take full advantage. I can promote while I'm here. I can, help the promotion any sort of way while I'm here. And, I can practice with Cage MMA, which was my original team back in 2015 when I first signed with them, before, Brave was even a thing. So being able to train with these guys again, especially like the Dagestani Eagles, it's a whole different world. Their takedown game, their ground game is just, I feel that every child over there trains with bears. It's a natural thing for them. But I think the hardest part for me is over. And like you said, I get to gradually, move my weight down instead of trying to rush it too much back in the States. And then now I have to fly overseas 18 to 24 hours quarantine, and then I can't work out for a full day because of the quarantine, and then it's already fight week, and now I have to stress and all that. So I'd rather, in a sense, face the difficult stuff now and then make the harder stuff that much easier.
Yeah, 100%. And let's talk a little bit about the fight coming up, because this is a rematch from Brave 42, if memory serves, against Sean Santella. Can I ask, how do you view the first fight? What is your overall opinion of that first matchup between yourselves?
Man, I did a horrible job. I honestly, and I'm very critical of myself, but I got too confident because I had trained with him before. I know what I've been able to do.
Yeah.
And I know he can't take me down in the general sense, but he was very smart in using my pressure against me. And I just didn't adapt. I was too prideful of going like, you'll get tired. You'll get tired. You get tired. Now I'm stuck in a Ashigarami 50-50 position. I'm being swept. I'm, being put into very dominant positions where now I have to really fight to get out. And even though I'm not in crazy, horrendous trouble, it's a dominant position. And he's winning the round because of it. Now I'm down 2 rounds and none, especially that second round. I'm like, I know what you're doing. And he went for a shot. I got a wizard. I'm punching away, getting a little blood hungry. And then he just throws me by a very simple wrestling move. And I'm like, wait, why did that happen? That shouldn't have happened at all. Like, I know this move. And then now I get my back taken and I spend the whole round, trying to fight off my back. And again, even though my jiu-jitsu defense is very good and everything worked out well, I had to push the pace in the third round. The only benefit I had was now I know that he's going to be tired in the third round. And I know what offense he does offer. Given he has to do something tricky in this next fight, I know his game plan isn't going to change too much because he's very jiu-jitsu based, but maybe he's going to go for more footlocks. Maybe he's going to go for more Imanari rolls and be a little funky, a Ryan Hall type of guy, which I know he's very capable of doing because he's a second degree black belt. He's very, very good. But for me, it's playing a smart game plan. And we've had the game plan since the first fight. It's now implementing it. I think for both of us, it's going to be a much more challenging fight because now there's more of a strict game plan. He knows that I'm there to offer. I know what he's going to offer. And two, him and I were going through a lot of things behind the scenes. His mother had cancer. I think his mother's dog had cancer, and he was taking care of both of them. My father just passed away, and I pulled out of a fight. I was still grieving and dealing with a lot of things. We both didn't fight until a year and a half, and it just so happened to come back to each other. And then after the fight, we reminisced and talked about it too, and we're just excited to fight again. So for us, I think it's a big relief off our shoulders, and we're more than happy and excited to fight this time compared to the first, having a lot of anxiety, mental stress, stuff like that. So for me, I think I'm more motivated than ever, especially now, 28 in my prime and ready to have some fun in there.
And one thing I wanted to pick up on was the fact that it was a draw, and I can imagine that being a slightly perplexing feeling when you're in there, because it must feel like there is one result or the other that's going to happen. What did it feel like when the judges' scores were read out and it was a draw? How did you feel in there?
When I heard the first score, I was like, okay. But I remember immediately once the round was over and I went to my corner, I was like, the last round had to be a 10-8, had to be a 10-8. Come on, let it be a 10-8. And so when I heard the first scorecard, I'm like, damn, come on. Like he didn't do anything that whole round. Come on, you got to give me something. And then the last 2 judges gave it a 10-8. I was like, yes, people like me, like this is awesome. Which again, I do believe it was a 10-8. I did damage him. I did hurt him. And there was a time in the round where the ref was like, oh, watch the back of the head. I'm like, I'm not hitting him in the back of the head. Come on, like let me attack. Please don't hinder my performance here. But he's just a very, very smart fighter, and he knew what to do to survive. So for me, it's trying to change up my game and possibly even offer submissions. Try to even change up my striking when it comes to the ground, because I know the fight's gonna go there. It's kind of like if you fight Henry Cejudo, doesn't matter how much wrestling you practice, you're gonna get taken down. It's the same thing with Sean Santella. It doesn't matter how much jiu-jitsu I practice, I might not be taken down, but he's going to pull guard. The fight is going to end up on the ground. So what am I going to do? Am I just going to try to break away and stand up? Or am I going to be able to attack and be able to attack a little more efficiently in the first fight? So, man, I know going into this fight, even though he won more rounds and I did get the 10-8 round, in my head, it's like, you already know if this fight goes past the first round, it's just going to get harder for you. Second round, you're going to start tiring out. In the third round, the last fight, it was a 10-8. So you can just imagine it's going to end up the same way, especially for him being a little older. I think he's 36, 37. it's very hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And, for me, I'm 28 in my prime. So I have a game plan. I know what I want to do. And I want to take this, slow methodically, but I need to put the pressure on immediately from the very first round and not like I did, kind of just like, let me walk forward here, pull guard, damn, let me actually, put on my jab, set up my kicks, set up my combinations and make this a stand-up fight instead of, I'm not trying to bash him and make it say like it's an unexciting fight, but I want to give the fans a very, very dominant showing. And for that, for me, it's a stand-up game.
If we talk about the fight chronologically, you obviously won the last round and you won it via the 10-8 scorecard on 2 judges' scorecards. With that being said, do you think you're at an advantage in terms of these things we're talking about knowing that his cardio may wane and knowing that you can prolong the fight a little bit more? Do you think you're an advantage in that way?
Yeah, that's one of my things that I want to do. For me, it's not that I want to prolong the fight. I never want to make the fight as long as possible. If it goes that way, honestly, because of my body type, because of my conditioning, I am more than perfectly fine with that. Like I'm a train that literally gets faster as I go down the rails. So, for this, it's if it happens the first round, awesome. I've noticed in all the fights that I've had, anytime I've tried to go for a knockout, I've made it so much more difficult for myself.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting beat up. Now I'm being stuck in positions. And all these, in a sense, vicious knockouts that I've had, I'd never tried. It was one of those, like I hit him, I was like, oh, he's down. This is awesome. So it's one of those things that I need to play this very, very smart. He's a very, very clever opponent. Even after the fight, talking to him, I was like, how do you know I was going to do this? How do you know I was going to do that? He goes, oh, common sense. Like he started to break things down. I was like, damn, you are way more experienced than me, obviously in the pro realm. I think his record's like 24-7-1 now. So, yay, I'm that one. But it's one of those things that he's a very, very smart veteran. So even in this next fight, I have to make sure I step up my game and play my cards right and make sure that this fight does not end up in the ground because, again, you can't teach an old dog new tricks for him. I just don't see him trying to change up his game too much. What's his game plan? Majority of it, even if it is a different submission, it's going to be on the ground. So for him, it's just tightening up his positions and maybe trying to do some funky Minari rules, trying to be a Ryan Hall, stuff like that. But for me, I have the stand-up game to offer. Maybe use a little more jazz, maybe use a little more leg kicks, maybe set up my combinations more, maybe start fainting for once in my life. I got to start doing different things and make him intimidated because I know he's afraid of my stand-up from personal experience in sparring and personal experience in the fight. So I want to be able to prove that I'm ready for the next round of the fights and then, watch the next round or my possible next opponent on April 1st, which is Dustin Ortiz and Ali Bagutinov, which is ridiculously scary because they're both, one was a title contender and one was ranked number 3 in the world. So it's extremely, extremely exciting.
Yeah. And this is your first pro career rematch. I know you had a couple of rematches in the amateurs, but it is your first rematch as a pro. How different does it feel going into a fight as a rematch with a rematch? I know that you've trained with Sean, and I know that you've obviously spent 15 minutes in the cage, but how different is it, or is it very similar?
I'm gonna knock on wood on this one. I've had 3 rematches as an amateur, and I've never lost any of them, and I've dominated them that much more because I know the game plan. And for me, I'm a person that like what's that saying? Like, fool me. I'm trying to do the George Bush one, like fool me once, shame on you. Fool me once, you can't get fooled again. No, it's one of those things that like, you got me once with it. And more than likely, man, if I get fooled again, you deserve to win. So I need to know that in my 3 rematches that I had as an amateur, I dominated those fights because I was that much more prepared. For me, I've been practicing for this fight. Even the first fight I was ready, I just, I didn't have any coach and I didn't have someone there on my side reminding me what I needed to do. I might not have Dean Thomas on my side that's been in my corner pretty much, for this entire camp. But we've been talking almost every single day, and he's just been reminding me not just physically of what I need to do, but mentally as well, how to stay strong, how to stay happy, especially, being out here like Dan Hooker for a month by myself. It's not fun, like after this, I have to take a hot bath, make sure that I'm, relaxing my body, but also sweating at the same time and staying on track with the weight cut. So, for this fight, I do have full advantage because I won the last round. He knows what I have to offer. And if he can't finish me in the first, it's just going to get that much harder for him.
Yeah. And this is part of the Brave Flyweight tournament. Are you a fan of tournaments at all? Because it's a funny vibe, isn't it? Potentially knowing one of who your opponent will be, or I suppose it's a coin flip to a certain extent. So can I ask, are you a fan of the tournament formula?
I like it because it makes it that much more exciting, but I believe it causes that much more anxiety, because I've had, besides wrestling and doing tournaments that way, for when I did the IMUF 2 years in a row, the good thing about the IMUF is that you really have no time to prepare. So you have to prepare for everyone, so you fight the next day. So if I fought, Monday, I'd have to fight Tuesday, whoever won the next round. And I'm just like, I don't know who that guy is. Oh, he's from Finland. Cool. I watched a little bit of his fight. He's jiu-jitsu guy. Cool. Now I might not know exactly what he's going for jiu-jitsu wise, but I have to be ready for everything. And with that being said, it just makes me that much more well-rounded. But when you fight a guy, for example, if I make it to the next round and I fight either Ali or Dustin, Ali's a powerhouse, man. It doesn't matter for him where it goes on the feet or on the ground. He just wants to brawl and make it a muscular type of fight. So I have to fight that fight as smart as possible. And if I fight Dustin Ortiz, he's primarily a wrestler. He doesn't really offer much stand-up. Yeah, his combinations here or there, but he's transitioning to wrestling. He wants to take you down. He might not submit you, but he's going to hold a very dominant position in a very smart veteran way. So I have to make sure that if I'm going to get out wrestled in whatever sense, I have to make sure I land my shots in between and make it a very grueling fight as well. So, yeah, it gives me time to prepare, but it also gives me time to possibly cause myself a little more anxiety and pressure and yada, yada, yada. But, when it comes to the fans, man, that's what they want to see. They like these tournament things. It just so happens I'm stuck in one, and it's a little bit of a Mortal Kombat type of thing. So I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan, but it's part of the game. It's part of the process. It just so happens that I know who I'm fighting next earlier than probably most.
Yeah. Is there a preferred opponent next out of the two, assuming that you get past Sean Santella? Is the one that you would think maybe is a better stylistic matchup for yourself?
What's crazy? I don't know. I really don't know because, I'm very prideful. So I love the brawl match. I love all that stuff. So Ali would be, I think, fan entertaining, that much more fun. Dustin wouldn't be as entertaining, but he's, I think, more of a challenge than Ali. I think Ali's more dangerous, but Dustin, he might not finish me, but man, he's definitely gonna, be able to out scramble in certain positions, dominate certain positions. And it's like, he's fought some of the best in the world, Joseph Benavidez, Mateus Nicolau, and so many others. It's like this guy's a veteran of sport, number 3 before he was released, so but Ali, he was a title contender. He fought the title for a reason. This guy is massive for the weight class. And I cut a decent amount of weight. So I'm just one of those guys where I look at him and I just want to be like, hey man, how do you make weight? Like, can you give me some secrets, please? Because I could use all the tips. But man, stylistically, I think fan entertaining, I would love to fight Ali. It would just be a lot of fun. And I think that would be one of those like first round type of fights where it's just Chris Cyborg, Amanda Nunes, like just two powerhouses going at it, and out of nowhere, it's like, oh my god, it's all over. But I think Dustin would be more of a chess match. So for me, I think I don't want to think too much. I want to have some fun and go with Ali. I think he'd be better stylistically for me.
Yeah, superb. I think, to be candid, either fight would be great, but obviously the prime focus is on Sean.
Yeah, Sean said I gotta focus on him first, and then the other side, you have the two guys doing a rematch as well, Zach Mikowski and Valley Morad, and you got Valley Morad, man, who I think was 4-0 when he fought Zach. Zach's had multiple fights in the UFC against high level guys, and he went and won a split decision over a guy who only had 4 fights. That's how good Valley Morad is. So being a former Sambo world champ and this and that, it is ridiculous. So I got to make sure, my game is up there and I'm ready.
And let's just very briefly talk about your head coach, Dean Thomas, who is one of the great minds in MMA, I would argue. Obviously, as we've mentioned, Dean isn't with you at the moment. He's got other commitments with some of the other guys on the team. So talk to me a little bit how you and Dean have structured your training or your schedule whilst you're over there in Bahrain, and what the process is like.
At least when I was home, because I live with Dean Thomas down in Florida. So, we wake up, have breakfast, and then immediately go inside the gym, inside the garage, pretty much. We call it the firm, the kitchen, whatever you want to call it. And, we work, we systematically
Hello? Hello?
So with Dean Thomas, man, you know, I live with him. We train in the morning, we train at night, and whether it's one-on-one with pad work or working with Gillian and David Evans, everything is systematic, especially for my fight, working on the ground, passing the guard, the ground and pound, making sure if I'm on the feet systematically, you know, using my jab, using my leg kick, setting up my combinations, my feints, so on. And he's broken it down to a science. It's just my job to know now, or to remember at least. But now when I'm out here training with like the Dagestani Eagles, KHK MMA, and all these guys, I might not have Dean in my corner, but I have Dean on the phone telling me what to do, and not just physically, but mentally. And I think that is the biggest thing, especially towards me. I'm a very big extrovert. I'm alone in this damn room, you know, so I need attention. I need somebody to, in a sense, coddle me sometimes, especially when I'm cutting weight. For him, he's just trying to make me mentally strong and that much more prepared, especially as the weight starts to come down. You know, people start to get mental, they start to break down. And I've had my personal experiences when I fought Alex Perez, like I was so mentally broken. I just wanted to go home and look at the performance that came out. I ended up being TKO'd the first time ever in my career. So with Dean, he knows me down, you know, to a T, and he has those. It's weird. He has those little times where he says something, you're like, man, that was exactly what I needed to hear. This is oh, all right. I don't know how you know this, but this is exactly what I need to hear. Thank you. You know, so he's a very, very smart man. I respect him very much, and I thank him for everything. But with this fight, I do wish it was here, but it is what it is. And he trusts me enough to come out here by myself and get the job done.
Yeah, superb. And let's just move back to the fight for my final question. Give me a prediction for your fight at Brave 49. What goes down in your rematch with Sean Santella?
You know, I do believe this fight goes down to a finish because that's what I want. But like we were saying earlier, you know, I'm not going to try to, you know, go for the finish, because every time I've gone for the finish, I end up getting hurt or I end up putting myself in really dumb positions. Now I have to fight way harder. For me, you know, I want to take this as a Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns type of fight. Take it slow, methodically, and see where the fight goes. Use what I need to do. You know, use whatever combination I'm throwing. Use my feints. Use my setups. And if I go down to the ground, play it systematically like we've been doing the chess match inside the garage, and kind of have Dean in the back of my head and Eldar off in my corner, you know, telling me what to do, and then get back to the game plan when the game is on the feet. I do want to end this fight. I want to show and go into the next round with a knockout or even possibly submission, because I know I have that ability as well, which would be awesome to submit a second degree black belt. But for me, it is going to go to a finish. But if it goes to the decision, so be it. A win's a win, but I'm not going to be this time. I'm going for a knockout because last time I said it, I didn't do the best. So I don't want to jinx myself.
Well, I very much look forward to the rematch, and I very much look forward to seeing you back in there.
Well, cheers, man. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we finish, Jose, can I just ask, how can people find you on social media?
Yeah, please, if people want to support me, and I literally look at every single message request. So even people want to chat and talk and message me, like, go ahead. Jose Shorty Torres on Instagram, Shorty Torres MMA on Facebook and Twitter. And then please, if you guys can, follow my other Instagram account, Team Shorty Foundation, where I help keep kids, teens, and young adults inside the gym and off the streets. And it really has helped a lot of people. And that's something I want to continue doing. You see Dustin Poirier working with his foundation, Manny Pacquiao working with his, and so many other people. I'm trying to, try my best to do the same. And, I'm just one fight at a time helps a lot of people, especially my foundation. So please, guys, I love the support, and thank you so much.
What a great way to end. Jose, thank you for your time today.
Cheers, man.